What's up with it, people? It's your old mate Nat Vegas here with a Pro Tools tutorial for you. And today I'm going to show you how to record audio into Pro Tools. Very simple, and we're going to be recording from a microphone directly into Pro Tools. So I'm on a Mac and I'm opening up Pro Tools version 12. Now, before you can record anything, you obviously need a microphone and you need an audio interface of some type. The only scenario where you wouldn't need an audio interface is if you had a USB microphone, which you can plug straight into your computer via the USB port. If you have a normal microphone, this is a studio condenser microphone, you're going to need some kind of interface. And I have an RME Fireface UCX. And so before I go on, I'm just going to create a test session here, pop that on the desktop. You might have something like an M-Box or an Apogee Duet or a Focusrite Scarlett, any number there. There's hundreds of them. And to make sure that your audio interface is all good, you first need to, of course, have that audio interface plugged into your computer via the USB port or the Thunderbolt port or Firewire, whatever protocol it has. And you need to install the latest drivers, and then when you open Pro Tools, we're going to click Setup, Playback Engine, and we want to make sure that we see our interface right here under Playback Engine. You cannot record audio unless your audio interface is the Playback Engine for Pro Tools. So if something you might see if you're on a Mac, it might say built-in output there. You want to change that to whatever your audio interface is. And for the hardware buffer size, we want to have that around 256 or 128. If you've got a really fast computer, you can even have it down to 64 when you're recording. Lower sample rates are good while you're recording because you get no or low latency latency. If I had that set up high, like 512 or even higher, I would probably get some audible latency, which is a little distance, a little echo time difference between when I talk and when I hear it back through the headphones or whatever I'm monitoring in. So I'm just going to have that 128 samples, and that makes sure that the hardware side of things is all good. And I'm going to create a track to record on. So new track and then new. And for this microphone, I want a mono audio track. I'm just going to switch over to the edit view. Here we go. Edit view is usually what you'll see when you first open up Pro Tools anyway. The other one we just saw there was the mix view. So here's the edit view, and this is how you record audio. Make sure you name your track, because whatever you name your track, that will print that name onto the actual audio file. So that's important. Always name your tracks. If you don't, it'll just say, all of your audio files will say audio 1, audio 2, audio 3. It's a nightmare to find out what is what. And then from there, I'm going to hit this record enable button. I'm just going to turn my monitoring speakers down so I don't get any feedback. And we should, if everything's set up correctly, we should see some metering there. So we can see that metering. It's beautiful. And then we want that to be a nice strong signal. So you can see there's like a dark green, and then it moves up into a lighter green when I speak loudly. And a really nice spot for recording vocals is just sort of tickling into that light green, getting about maybe halfway up that light green. From there, I want to jog all the way back to the start on the return to 0, and then I'm going to hit record enable and play, and it will start recording. And you can see there it's generating a waveform. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see every time I talk, a waveform is being generated, and that is the digital representation of the sound pressure waves of my voice hitting the microphone, which is converted from electrical current through the analog to digital converter, which is in your audio interface, and then it's saving it as a digital audio file. In this case, it'll probably be a WAV file, .wav. And as far as a recording level, that looks pretty good. If it was way too loud, that would be going all the way to the top and the bottom, and you would be getting a red light on your meter. You do not want to see a red light when you're recording. That means you've clipped the input and it's way too loud. So you can set the recording level with the input gain, and there's usually an input gain knob or a dial next to each input on your audio interface. So if you have that set too low, you'll hardly get any metering. It'll only reach maybe a fifth or a quarter of the way up. It'd be too low, and this waveform would be really thin. If it was way too loud, you'd be getting red. You go into the yellow and red, and you'd get clipping. So you want to find that happy medium. It's called a signal to noise ratio. So I'm going to stop recording here. And there we have a beautiful recording of my voice. And you can rinse and repeat that by creating more audio tracks, and make sure, this is one thing to double check, that the input on the actual channel is set to the input that your mic is plugged into. So we can see here this I/O. That stands for in and out, and if you can't see this area, it's because you need to put a tick next to it right here by clicking this little menu here and having a tick next to I/O. And you'll see there that when you click this top, this is the in up the top, and this is the out down the bottom. So we're coming in at the moment. This is selected mic/line 2, but I'm not plugged into mic/line 2. I'm plugged into number 1. So if I want to record on this track, you just got to make sure that that mic/line 1 is correct. And then when I click the record enable on this, we'll see the beautiful metering there. And I can go ahead and record on this track as well. So I can do overdubs, or I can record an acoustic guitar first on this track and then a vocal. You can do whatever you want. So there we go. That's basic audio recording in Pro Tools 12, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you're having trouble figuring Pro Tools out, I'm currently in the process of making a crash course for Pro Tools. I'm going to give that away for free. It's a 1-hour course where you learn all the basics: how to record audio, how to record MIDI, how to edit MIDI, how to do basic mixing and mastering in Pro Tools, how to install the software, how to optimize your system for audio. So when I finish that, I will chuck that in the link to that into the description. And I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.